literally play hundreds of roles that aren't even big enough to have a name. They literally, they yell and then they get blown up, or
It's so true.
or they're sitting on a park bench having a conversation in the background, or they're going to a restaurant, or they're whatever, yelling as they run down the street because the monster's attacking, whatever. I was actually recording. I was in a recording session with David Williams at ADV one time a few years back, and I'd finished recording. I just finished recording the character that I normally played in the show, and David said, "Hey, listen, I've got you for a few more minutes. Why don't you fill in a couple of gaps for me? Turn in your script to page 14, and I want you to do Soldier A." So I was sitting there in the booth waiting for the engineer to find his place in the episode, and I kind of started kicking my legs back and forth and started making up this dorky little song. Like I was trying to work up some pride in my character, Soldier A. So that's how it got started, and I made this little short thing up, and it was really catchy, and everyone seemed to get a kick out of it. So I had a couple of friends come over to my studio at my home, and we worked on the lyric and recorded the thing with a couple of other voice actors, and that's how it came to be.
Awesome. Okay, Ken. We don't want to hold this too much longer, so.
Not a problem. But out of those roles that you've done, which do you prefer? Do you prefer playing the hero, the villain, the badass, or Soldier A?
Well, I like all of them, actually. As an actor, I mean, you love the challenge of getting to play different characters. It's really fun to go in one day and be the hero, and go in the next day and be a homicidal maniac, and then go in the next day and be a quirky little whatever. I mean, that's part of the fun of acting, is to get to play different roles. My voice tends to lend itself naturally to the young hero type, but as an actor, I really love to play the dark, evil bad guys, just for some variety. And while probably no one loves to play Soldier A, I'm happy to do it because, hey, it's work. Can't beat that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think there needs to be an anime where like Soldier A is the main character.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, I agree. Make it up. Write it.
Soldier A, the web series.
You need to do it. You need to do it.
Vic, speaking of the spoof, there's a World of Warcraft commercial you did on YouTube. If you don't mind, can you explain exactly how that came about? Do you actually play the World of Warcraft?
No, I don't. That's the funny part.
It was such a great commercial.
Well, thank you. You know what's funny is that, again, a friend of mine named Mandy, who actually is one of my officers in my fan club, called me one day and she said, I know you're a big Star Trek fan. You need to go and look at this World of Warcraft commercial that William Shatner did. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't even know what World of Warcraft is, but I want to see the commercial. So I went to the commercial and I watched it, and I thought it was hilarious. And then I watched the other ones, Mr. T and some of the other ones, Jean-Claude Van Damme and stuff. And the one thing I noticed was that all of them, they were just in a white room. There wasn't any big fancy setup, and they were talking to the camera in a white room, and then they would cut in some in-game footage. So I said to Mandy, we ought to make one of these. And she said, my brother is an undead warlock. He plays World of Warcraft all the time. I'll bet I could capture some in-game footage. And I was like, oh, yes, do it. So we wrote up a little script, and then I literally took a camera to a friend of mine's production facility, and nobody else was there. I literally sat the camera up and then got out in front of the camera and did all of the shots, and then Mandy sent me the the in-game footage, and I cut it together and, edited it like a regular World of Warcraft commercial. And it's funny because I was
not a World of Warcraft fan, but after seeing that commercial, I probably would have played it.
Yeah. What's funny is I was at lunch today with a friend of mine, and he said, dude, did you know that your World of Warcraft commercial has like 2,300,000 views? And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So
it's true. I was just watching it over yesterday. It really is 2 million hits so far.
Well, now, have you seen my latest video from Star Wars?
I personally saw it just recently. If you wouldn't mind, why don't you tell some of the listeners at home who may have not seen it yet?
Well, just in a nutshell, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yay!
And, yes, and I don't know what gave me the idea, but I've always prided myself in my Yoda voice. I can do a pretty good Yoda, and so I had this idea. Why don't I pull a scene from Empire Strikes Back, the scene where Luke is leaving Dagobah and Yoda and Obi-Wan are trying to talk him out of leaving, and why don't I play all the characters? Why don't I just completely strip the audio out and lay in new forest ambience and new music and new sound effects and do all of the voices myself? And so that's what I did. And I love doing stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
So you have to check it out.
Okay, Ken, ask your last question, and then I'll go last.
All right. Actually, there is a question from our chat here by Soccer CEO. He or she actually asked, how do you personally feel about the new voice actor for Alphonse? I understand that they had to change the voice actor because the original actor aged too mature for the voice of Al now.
That's right. Well, Sakura, thank you for your question. I absolutely love Maxie Whitehead. I think she's doing an amazing job as Alphonse. We all love Aaron, and Aaron did an amazing job with the first series. But hey, puberty is unavoidable.
It is.
And he his voice is lower than mine now, so it wouldn't have worked. And he knew that. He's such a cool kid. He understood that. So they worked very, very hard to find somebody that they felt could capture that character and be similar to Aaron. And Maxie is doing a fantastic job. So I'm very excited about Maxie.
And if I'm not mistaken, they're going to. I was at a panel for Funimation at the New York Anime Festival, and they still intend to cast the original Alphonse in a role in the upcoming series. From what I was told.
I think it's fair to say that we're going to find something for Aaron to do. Mm-hmm. The show is simply too big with too many characters, and I know that we all love Aaron, and we definitely want him to be a part of the show. So I can promise you that the director is keeping an eye out for roles that Aaron could step into and play. And so I'm confident Aaron will show up somewhere.
Okay. All right, Vic, this is the last question. Thank you for sticking around a little longer than planned to answer these questions for us.
No problem.
We really
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
This is the last question. It's a three-part question, so it may take a little long to answer. First off, is there anything you would like to say to your fans out there? What upcoming conventions can we look forward to seeing you in, and what upcoming projects do you have in the works that fans should look out for?
Okay. First question, I love you. That's what I want to say to the fans. I am so deeply grateful for the love and support that the fans give me and my work. So grateful. They are so kind to me, and that's one of the reasons that I run myself ragged and get sick going to conventions, because I love to meet them and interact with them. And so to the fans, I want to say I love you and thank you. Especially, I need to give a shout-out to my Risen Bull Rangers. That's my online fan club. And I always try to make it a point to give them a special shout-out. Now, second question, what conventions am I going to? Good Lord, how much time do you have?
We got an hour.
I'll be at Anime Milwaukee this coming weekend. I'll be at Konnichiwa in Tucson the weekend of the 27th. Then I'll be at SakuraCon in Seattle. Then TokoshoCon in Pittsburgh. Then KawaiiCon in Hawaii. Then Comic-Con at the University of Alabama. Then MTAC in Nashville. Then I'll be at Anime Central. I'll be at JampCon. I'll be at Anime North. I'll be at Colossal Con. I'll be at Anime Mid-Atlantic. Then I've got a couple of overseas conventions in Sydney and Perth.
Wow.
Then I'll be at Anime Festival Wichita. I'll be at MechaCon in New Orleans. I'll be at Otakon in Baltimore. I'm very excited to be back at Otakon.
Yeah, Otakon.
I'll be at the Northern Michigan Convention in Traverse City most likely. I'll be at Otakuthon in Montreal. I'll be at the Canadian National Expo in Toronto. I'll be at Anime Vegas. I'll be at AWA in Atlanta. I'll be at SebotenCon. I believe that's in Arizona. I'll be at EXPCon in St. Augustine. And then I'll be abroad again in Melbourne, Australia, and Auckland, New Zealand. Then I'll be at Youmacon in Detroit. Then I'll be at MokuCon at Rutgers University in November. And that's what I've got right now.
Wow. When do you have time to sleep?
Yeah, right. And as for new projects, I am working on a couple of new things, and I am sorry to say that
speak about them right now.
Exactly. One of them in particular, I will tell you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this. I have been told that the press release is going to go out sometime in the next week or two. So sometime before March is over, I expect the press release will go out announcing this new show and the role that I'm playing, and I'm very, very excited about it. We've already started recording, but I'm very excited about that. And, just lots of video games and stuff that we're not allowed to talk about until they come out. So
definitely.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was Vic Mignogna.